Hello everyone, it's Kelly at Unisys. So today I am going to talk about something called Darvo, which you might have heard of or you may not have. It is quite a manipulative tactic that is quite present in lots of instances of coercive control and all sorts of other types of situations. So I find it really interesting. So if you've not heard of it before, Darvo, it's DARVO, and it stands for Deny, Attack, and Reverse Victim and Offender. So basically, it's a manipulative tactic to avoid taking responsibility, and it causes loads of confusion. And often the victims don't really understand what's happened. And are left asking if they're to blame for the situation. So first they deny whatever the situation is and minimize it. They might distort the facts. Well, probably will. And then they will attack. They'll cause a massive character assassination of the victim and place the blame on the victim. And that's to keep their own perception of themselves intact. The victim will be cast as a villain while the perpetrator is exonerated. So they might say, I didn't do anything, but if I did, it wasn't that bad. It didn't happen, but if it did, that thing that happened wasn't that bad. So it's quite a confusing thing to have happen to you. So the people who are most likely to be victims of this are survivors of abuse, whistleblowers, so people who blow the whistle in companies, and socially vulnerable individuals or groups. So it's often women who are the targets of this. So the purpose of it is to provide a smokescreen to hide the truth, and the manipulator can control how other people perceive the target, and the effect on the person it's happening to, it stuns them into silence because they're so confused about what's just happened. So no amount of evidence will be enough to disprove what the perpetrator is saying, and people around usually side with the perpetrator, and this is to in order to protect themselves because they don't want to be the next target. So the perpetrator's end game is a complete destruction of the victim by way of social death, so to completely annihilate them socially. So they've got no social currency. Psychological destabilization. So you might hear them saying, oh yeah, you're crazy, you're mental. Or it could end in their end game might be self-destruction. So the victim might go off and take their own life, or end up drinking a lot or taking drugs or something like that. It's all unhealthy behaviours. The perpetrator weaponizes the empathy of the supporters and encourages negative biases towards the victim. And once that happens, any kind of violence is acceptable. So this can happen where, in homophobia or anti-Semitic situations where there's quite a lot of people involved. So the effect on the victim, as you can imagine, is quite substantial. So it can cause chronic anxiety, panic, major depression, post-traumatic stress, and it can also impact on your physical well-being, because once your mental health's been affected, then that affects your physical health as well. There is a connection between your mental well-being and your physical well-being, and it will manifest in physical formats. So that could be autoimmune diseases or conditions, and it could be your gut health. It invalidates the survivor's lived experience, and they're denied any justice, and so it's re-traumatizing because nobody believes the victim, and the victim might not even believe themselves what's happened. So they're completely confused, and everybody's turned against them basically. And I just wanted to add to this because I think that there's a lot of people who've suffered from this. Um, and being heard and supported, particularly in a counselling environment, is really beneficial for this situation. Um, it can be really powerful to be heard and acknowledged, and just for someone to be on your side after a long period of this, because it's not something that just happens once and then goes away, because um, it will be a pattern of abuse in a relationship or a workplace or a situation like that. So it's really important that you get some help, and um, we would love to help you with that. If this is something that you have experienced yourself, or you know someone who has experienced this, please do get in touch. I will put a booking link in the comments, or it'll be in the link in the bio if you're watching this on Instagram. And so you can book an appointment. It's free. The first appointment's free. There's no obligation to go ahead, and you can get that support. I will see you next time.